Hey fight fans, welcome back to the fight book. This is the Indian accent guy after a few days because we did not have enough fight announcements and also my PC was effed up. Anyway, as you all know that Dana White has announced the whole man card of UFC 323 card, but the thing that you might not know is there are a total of 17 fights that are announced, and trust me, there must be some fights that you currently do not know about. I'm not gonna tell you about all the big fights in the start of the video. Instead, like always, we are gonna do it in chronological order. So first fight is added on UFC 321, the next pay-per-view card on October 25th, headlined by Aspinall versus Gane. It is a heavyweight bout where Walter Walker will return against Louis Sutherland. If you don't know, Walter Walker was supposed to fight Muhammad Usman, who failed his test because of the increased testosterone, so he had to pull out of that fight. Now Walter Walker's opponent is Louis Sutherland, who was also supposed to fight and make his UFC debut against Justin Tapa, but Tapa had pulled out. Both of them are now fighting each other at UFC 321. Then on the next card, which is UFC Vegas 110, November 1st, headlined by Garcia versus Onama. There are 4 fights added on this one. None of them is that big scale fight. Anyway, first one is a heavyweight bout where 6-0 undefeated with all finishes, Josh Hoggett will be making his UFC debut against another debutant, Max Jimenez. Josh Hoggett is a knockout specialist while Jimenez is a grappler. Anyway, the second fight is a welterweight bout between Charles Radke and Daniel Funza, not a big fight. Then a bantamweight bout is added between Miles Jones versus Moin Gafurov. Miles Jones, who is always a tough competition, is currently riding a 2-fight losing streak, while Gafurov is riding a 2-fight win streak, coming off upset win over Rinya Nakamura. Then the last one is a strawweight bout between Mostard Canelo Ruiz versus Alice Ardelian. Next card is UFC Vegas 111, November 8th, headlined by Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. The first fight that is added on this card is Gabriel Bonfim's brother Ismail Bonfim's fight, who is taking on Chris Padilla. Ismail is 2-2 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Nazim Sadiqo, while Padilla is 3-0 in the UFC, coming off a split decision win over Jai Harbert. Then a featherweight bout between Haider Amil versus Jamal Emmers. Haider Amil is fighting Jamal Emmers because Emmers' original opponent Austin Pashi had to pull out of this bout. Amil will be looking to rebound from his first career loss to Jose Delgado. Then the next event is UFC 322 MSG card on November 15th, headlined by Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev, and they now added another big scale fight on it. In a top ranked welterweight bout, Sean Brady, who is currently ranked at number 2 and coming off the biggest win of his career, which was on short notice against Leon Edwards, and he is taking on none other than number 8 ranked, the hottest prospect in the welterweight division, 18-0 undefeated Michael Morales, who is coming off 2 straight back-to-back round 1 performance of the night knockouts over Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns in back-to-back fights. Then a bantamweight bout was announced between 10-0 undefeated Malcolm Wellmaker versus Sergey Sade, but 1 or 2 days after the announcement, Sergey Sade had to pull out of this fight. So currently Malcolm Wellmaker is still on the card, but he do not have any opponent. I will let you know if the UFC announced his opponent. Anyway, the next card is November 22nd UFC Qatar card, and it was reported that light heavyweight bout between Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov will take place on this card, but now the plan is changed and this fight has been added at UFC 323 man card as per Dana White himself. He came live on Instagram and announced the complete card of UFC 323. It will be headlined by UFC bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili, who will be taking on Peter Yan in a rematch. Dvalishvili will be defending his belt for the 4th time this year, and if he beats Peter Yan again, he will become the first UFC champion to defend his belt 4th time in a single calendar year. Moreover, the champ says that he will return after beating Peter Yan in March. So when Dvalishvili says that he wants to return in March, you have to believe that he can return in March right after beating Peter Yan. Anyway, the co-headliner of this event will be a UFC flyweight championship bout between Alexandre Pantoja versus Joshua Van. The fifth defense of Pantoja against none other than Van, who is coming off a win over Brandon Royval. In another top-ranked flyweight bout, which is possibly the number one contender bout, where number 2 ranked Brandon Moreno will be taking on number 5 ranked Tetsuro Taira. Moreno is currently riding a 2-fight win streak over Albazi and Erceg, while Taira is 7-1 in the UFC, and he just came back into the win column in his last fight by beating Sun Young Park. Then a big scale middleweight bout is added on the card as well. Number 14 ranked Marvin Vittori will be trying to defend his spot in the rankings against always tough Bruno Ferreira. Vittori is currently riding 3-fight losing streak, while Ferreira is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, currently riding a 2-fight win streak. Then 3 banger lightweight bouts are also added on this card that Dana White did not announce. Grant Dawson, who is riding a 3-fight win streak after a fluke loss from King Green, will be taking on the one of the toughest challenge, Manuel Torres. Dawson lost only 1 out of his 13 UFC fights, still he is currently unranked. Anyway, Manuel Torres just bounced back from Bahamondes loss by knocking out Drew Dober in round 1. He is 4-1 in the UFC, and all of his 4 wins were round 1 knockouts. Anyway, in another lightweight bout, Nazim Sadikho will try to extend his 5-fight unbeaten streak against Faris Ziam, who will also try to extend his 5-fight win streak. And in the last lightweight bout, Terrence McKinney, who is 4-1 out of his last 5 UFC bouts and currently riding a 2-fight win streak, will be taking on Chris Duncan, who is riding a 3-fight win streak with 2 performance of the night bonuses. And that's all in this video. Now you're again completely up to date with all the new fight announcements in the UFC. If you want to stay up to date with the new fight announcements, I think you already know what you're supposed to do. So do it, then share your thoughts in the comment section, and then do whatever you want.